Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with all the resources you need to become a successful author. You can learn more about Authors Unite and join the free community at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner, and today I have Courtney Maiorino with us, and she is a health coach. So welcome to the show, Courtney.
Thanks for having me, Tyler. I'm really excited to be here.
Of course, we're excited to have you as well, and we'll dive into the first question. The first question I have for you, Courtney, is what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
So, I have Crohn's disease. It's an autoimmune disease, and I don't know if any of your listeners know, but with these diseases sometimes comes having to take medications, most of the time anyways. And throughout my short stint as a patient so far, I've had to take some pretty intense medications. Throughout my years as a patient, I've made the decision a couple of times to come off of medications. And it's been a really personal decision and a really hard one, but it's something that internally I was nudged to do. And I think that the couple of times that this has happened to me and that I've chosen to go this route, it's taught me how to trust my intuition. I'm not saying to do anything drastic, but what I am suggesting is for people to learn how to trust their intuition. We all have a little voice, a little nudge inside of us that helps us guide on our journey through life. And most of us don't hear it because we don't know how to listen to it. So just like slowing down, getting quiet, and actually learning to listen, it's amazing what guidance we would actually receive.
And what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
So when people think about health and wellness, they think probably mostly about what you eat and how much you exercise. And while those things are super important for people, both as chronic illness patients and also just to be healthier people, it's not just that. It's so much more than that. It also includes how you think, how you speak, how you view the circumstances that life brings to you, and what kind of energy that you're putting out into the world. Being truly and holistically healthy means that we give love and attention to all of these things as they're needed. It's going to ebb and flow, but really being able to look at ourselves and our health through a mind, body, soul approach instead of just a one-dimensional way of looking at it.
And what is your best piece of overall business advice, so not necessarily industry specific?
My best piece of overall business advice would be to follow your heart and your gut, but also bring your brain along for the ride. A combination of strategy and execution plus a lot of passion and heart for what you're doing is, in my experience, been the best way to not only connect with people that I'm trying to serve and develop really, really deep, strong relationships with them, but also to be successful in what I'm trying to do.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Wow. If you feel different, welcome that. That's a good thing. As a kid and a young adult, I always tried to fit into groups, into roles, into societal expectations that now that I look back on it, I wasn't meant to fit into them. I was meant to be bigger or do something different or not be what I was trying to be. For everybody listening, embrace your individuality and your uniqueness, what makes you you. Stand tall in who you are and don't be afraid to share it with the world. Our world needs way more people right now who follow their hearts, who are being true to themselves and are really trying to be of service to others.
And in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
The key to happiness, in my own personal opinion, is figuring out what lights you up and doing that no matter what. It can be really easy to fall into expectations or things that we think that we should do, even if that isn't what we want for ourselves. And by doing what lights us up often, we are automatically infusing so much passion and good energy into our lives, and that can only bring more good things our way. So really trying to figure out what you love to do, what makes you happy, and doing a lot of that all the time.
And what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
The best book that I've read. I love to read. So picking one book is going to be really hard for me. I loved 11 Seconds. It's by, the author is escaping me right now. Man, the author is escaping me. It's a book about a famous hockey player who played for BC, and he got injured 11 seconds into his first game.
Oh, wow.
And it was spinal cord injury, career-ending type of play. And it really just shows not only the relentless strength of the human spirit because of insane obstacles that come people's way, but also that the bad things that happen to us sometimes, they really teach us things, and they're here to show us new facets of ourselves that we didn't know were there or that were accessible for us, and that we're supposed to be maybe so much more than we ever really thought. So that's a really great book.
And what is your favorite quote and why?
Ooh, my favorite quote. I love, be the change you wish to see in the world. I think that everything that I've gone through and everything that a lot of people in my life have gone through, it shows that if you lead by example and you shine your light and you do what's best for you, by doing that for yourself, you're ultimately creating a ripple effect to change the world. And I know it doesn't feel like that a lot of the time, but by doing what's best for you, by following your heart, by taking care of yourself in ways that resonate with you, you're ultimately changing the people around you, the people around them, and so on. And so really trying to be the light and be the change that we want to see in the world, I think it's an amazing thing to do.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much for coming on. The last question I have for you before we let you go is, where's the best place for people to find you online?
Ooh, best place would be Instagram, at CMMAIORI.
Perfect. Thank you again.
Instagram is my favorite place.
Awesome. Sounds good. I will link that in the show notes, and thank you again for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.